Hello, hello, my silky friends. There are some people in here. I really kind of thought I would be talking to myself tonight because it's a Saturday. It's summertime. I know y'all got stuff to do. So if you are on the replay crew, no problem. I get it. Um, this week has been brutal for work, and next week doesn't look to be any better because I'm working the holiday as well as my regular schedule. So I'm going to do as much as I can in the next couple of days, and then it's probably going to be poof, I'm gone. So, anyway, let me say hello. Hello, Pam Frenchman. How are you doing? Buckeye. Daniel Berry. Whoop, whoop. He says you. Yeah. So, and all of you, I've got more people. I see how many people are watching this. Say hello. Say hello. Let us know you're here. All right. There is so much going on, and really, there are a couple of cases that, I really want to cover them. And I don't know how I'm going to find the time. But, so I thought, let's recap June. Let's talk, because I missed y'all. I just miss you. When I can't go live and I can't talk to you, I miss you so much. And some of you send me stuff. And if you look in the chat, there's my email at the top. And then I also have a Discord link. It's over there. So, I will be honest with you. I get, so many, I get so many email notifications on my phone that it's like, and a lot of it's just random stuff. It has to do with my channel and blah, blah, blah. And so I don't look at it as often. I know I don't look at as often as I should. Hello, Jay. How are you? Hello. Hello. Remember that Seinfeld episode? Hello. That always makes me think of that. But I do see my Discord notifications faster. So if you have Discord, and you want to use it, I haven't posted on my Discord in general categories in forever because sometimes it's a hot mess. But, and I'm not getting into any arguments on Discord, okay? Not going to happen. But if you want to get a hold of me, you want to have a private conversation or whatever, get on Discord and message me there because I will see it. Hello, Mythical. How are you? Now, let me ask you something, Mythical, because I saw, what was it? Maybe a post that you made on one of I don't know what video, and I think it said Mythically T. Is that your name? And it just doesn't show up on here except as Mythical? Are you Mythically T? I want to know. But yeah, we're going to go over all these cases, updates, just so we all know, so we're all on the same page. And we're going to start with Mica Miller. There's a lot, but there's not a lot. There's a lot of stuff that happened in June, and so that's not you, Mythically. Okay. It's weird. I wonder if somebody cloned you, Mythical, because it's got that same picture. It's got the same little kitty picture that you have. Huh. Interesting. You might have a clone. It might be AI. They might be coming to get you. Hello, Texas Patty. How are you doing? You're having a great Saturday? I wish I could say the same, but it's not bad. It's just, it's hot. It's hot, hot, hot. It's like July, August hot here. Yeah, Mythical. So yeah, I don't know. If I come across that comment again, I'll screenshot it. All right. So we're going to start with Mica Miller. Let's just go ahead and pull it up. All right. It's a hot mess. There's a lot of things that have happened in June, but not the kind of stuff that we really, really want to see. You know, we're wanting to see I don't know. We want to see an arrest. That's what honestly we do. Just Robin. Hello. Good evening. Yeah, JP Miller has been off the charts. This is the month. June, I believe, is the month that he decided to, pop out and show up on TikTok and make these videos. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But, oh, do y'all see? Hold on just a second. Can you see in the background where my hello sign is? Sachi, after all these months of me moving everything from where I was, my old background that I used to have, where she would run across the bed, she won't get up here. And today or yesterday, she decided this is her new little sitting spot. And you can see a little bit, she's so black. Every once in a while, she'll look at the camera. She'll knock down my hello sign. So if you don't know, that is Sachi. She is a rescue. That is my little baby. And she was found in it was in a like a strip mall parking lot. She was under somebody's car. Hey, Sach. Kitty, kitty, kitty. There she is. You can see the eyes a little bit. Hey, Sach. Say hello. Anyway, yeah, she's back. All right, let's go back to what we were doing. And I hope that she doesn't have any antics to pull because, she is a cat. You know how that goes. All right. So far, I'm going to not see your comments for just a minute, so I'll have to put my glasses on. All right. On June 5th, let's recap. Mica Miller's family reached an agreement with her estranged husband, John Paul Miller, regarding the release of Mica's personal effects. The agreement stipulated that Mica's family would receive custody of her personal cell phone, purse, vehicle, and their contents. J.P. Miller and his legal team would be given access to the contents of Mica's electronic devices. Well, good luck with that. A restraining order was put in place to prevent the diversing. I can't say that, of assets. Anyway, in other words, so nobody, like JP, couldn't get them without court permission. And, that was really important because, even though they can be given access to the contents, I'm sure that is because, for his legal defense, should there be a need for legal defense, as we all hope there will be at some point. But anyway, yeah. Then, on June 12th, Mica's family publicly pleaded for more investigation into her death. They expressed doubts about the self-unaliving ruling and requested that state police and the FBI take over the case and examine it as a potential homicide. And, there's a lot of talk. I'm in a lot of groups, and there's a lot of, stuff here and there. I don't have anything. As the Robbie Harvey also put out something that said he doesn't know either. 100%. But a lot of people think, and a lot of people that know way more than I do, think that the FBI is not just looking into the financials, but is actually kind of questioning the actual event, okay? And whether he is complicit in any way. So there you go. Also on that day, John Paul released a TikTok video. Yeah, it was the world's woohoo. Here's JP. What do y'all think about that? I'm going to ask you again in just a second. In which he stated he would defend himself against what he claims are lies. Lies told by Mica's family. Because he's a good guy, right? He mentioned that having 350 pages of proof about Mica's thoughts on her family and lawyer. As of yet, we have yet to see this proof, the 350 pages. Where are they? In his head, maybe. Or maybe it takes a little while. Okay, if you're going to fake something, it takes a little while to get yourself together. I'm just saying. Allegedly. It's my opinion, okay? On June 21st, John Paul Miller had asked to seal court records related to the case. Now, I think this is one of the last things that we talked about because his attorney said that sealing the records would ensure a fair trial and allow for witness cooperation. Well, here's the thing. It sounds like you want to seal the records because you don't want all of us as creators, as people in Facebook groups, on Reddit, whatever, making noise and talking about the things that are really sketch, okay? That is my opinion. Let's see. Let me see what y'all are saying here. A lot of fishy stuff like the fishy fisherman. Yes, the fishy fisherman. I want to see the proof. Me too. I don't think he's got it. Mythical. My question is, first he tells people at church it was self-induced, and now he wants to find out who's responsible. Exactly. Because let me tell you something. This is my opinion, but 100%, if he had just made that announcement and everybody said, oh, this is terrible, poor JP, he's a widower now, and, may she rest in peace. If it had just been left at that and nobody started digging into this and questioning, then guess what? He wouldn't be out here trying to find out who's responsible, right? He would just be, doing his JP thing and preaching on Sundays and looking for a hot wife and a bunch of hot lovers. Yeah, I know. I'm brutal sometimes, but it's the truth. Y'all know it. We all know it. I mean, he was looking for that before she passed away while they were still married. So, I mean, come on. Yeah, so have y'all been watching or seen clips? I've seen clips of it everywhere of the protests that go on every Sunday. I mean, it's like a circus is what it is. And I'm looking around at these people. I'm thinking, what a bunch of wackadoodles. I mean, I understand, and if I were closer, I would attend the protest. But it's just not doable for me to go for a day. Just I can't do it. Cannot do it with everything here and my schedule. So, the only way I could do it would be to fly and then rent a car and all that. And if they ever have a bigger, or something else is going on besides a bigger event, I might do that. But right now I just can't. But yeah, I watch little bits and pieces here and there, and I'm like, oh my God, some of these people, is the sun just that hot in South Carolina? Like, really? Because I don't think it can be any hotter than it is here in Alabama. But, man, have y'all seen it? Yeah. Yes, the total circus is that so-called church. Yeah. Thank you, Mythical. Oh, my wall thingy. Hey, you know what? That is metal. And it is so cool. I had it custom made. And look, I think my camera is it's actually flat on the wall. What is going on with my camera? I must be a little bit sideways. Anyway, I guess where I got that? I got that from Temu. It came in yesterday. I'm like, this is really nice. It wasn't expensive at all. Hello, Amy Lynn. Good to see you. Angela C. Good to see you too. All right, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what is going on over there with the protests. I'm glad they're doing it. I support that 100%. But it's almost like you don't know what's going to happen next. It's like as the church turns, what's going on? And if you didn't know, those of you who aren't caught up on Mica Miller, JP, her husband, has periodically been running around in a Spider-Man suit. I can't even, I cover true crime. I have never had to say these words before, even in the wackiest cases. Never have I had to say, the person of interest is running around in a Spider-Man suit and driving a DeLorean. So, look, I would say stranger things have happened, but I'm not really sure that they have. That, again, I don't know. It's wackadoodle. Is there something in the air? Is there just too much salt in the air? Whatever. And I love the beach. I'm a huge beach person. I would live there if I could. But not necessarily at Myrtle, but I love the ocean. So, yeah, I don't know. But there you go. JP, aka Spider-Man. By the way, it is a very nice suit. Very impressive. I'm sure it wasn't cheap. But Texas Patty. Okay, that calling the cops and sitting on the sidewalk to pray. I didn't really understand. I did see that. I did see several accounts of that. And here's the thing I don't understand is, were they praying for the protesters? Did it have anything to do with calling the cops? Like, I don't know. I mean, was it just to sit on the sidewalk and show them that I'm praying for you? Protesters who are obviously not understanding what a wonderful, anointed, called, and highly favored man that JP is. Is that what you're trying to convey there? Because look, I'll pray for you all day, sister, but it's going to be inside in the AC. I can pray for you on the inside of the building as well as I can on the outside, and I ain't gonna make a show of it, okay? If you wanted to say anything, if you wanted to convey that message, Trisha, and whomever else that was, what you should do is maybe, I know you probably don't want to be interviewed, but what you probably should do is at least say, I just have one thing to say. I love y'all. I'm praying for y'all. And then walk away. Don't answer any questions. But that, first of all, I saw that sidewalk, and if it's anything like Alabama, I'm thinking their bottoms are burning up. Like they're frying like an egg on that sidewalk right now. That would definitely be the way it is here. So I'm like, what are you doing? Because to me, this is just my opinion, and perhaps they didn't mean it this way, but in my opinion, it was just a show of nonsense. Oh, I'm praying for you. Why you gotta tell anybody? Just pray. Hush. Be quiet about it in public and just pray. If that is what you really want to do. We ain't got to make a big to-do about this because it just looks crazy. Y'all all looking crazy right now. I mean, I don't know. My pastor has done some very interesting things, but he's never been in a Spider-Man suit in a DeLorean. So, he's a really cool guy. So, I can't see this ever happening, though. Hello, JD. Good to see you. Let's see what y'all are saying. Oh, did I miss that? I missed Indiana Jones. Oh my gosh. I dressed up as Indy one time. I like to dress up as weird characters, as y'all know, if you've watched this channel for a while. I didn't see that. Oh, man, I'm going to have to go back and look for it now. I feel like I just missed out. Let's see, Mythical says, I think maybe the ones that are left, either he has something on them or from that other guy's church or just that brainwashed. Yeah, I've wondered that also. That's my thought, Mythical, is that he probably has something on them or there are some kind of ties there, in my opinion, because I don't think that you would want to, even, let's just say this, if I was still insane enough to support JP at this point, I don't think that I would go in on Sundays. I think I'd just stay out. And say, look, send him a text or an email. I support you, but at this point, it's just making you look bad. And it looks like there's a war going on. And it's not a pretty look. Wait. Oh, okay. He has the suit on a mannequin. Yes, in one of his videos, he's got that Spider-Man suit on a mannequin. It is, like I said, it's a nice suit. It seems like the wrong time of the year to be wearing it, but that's just me. Whatever. Bam. And then sitting on the sidewalk, getting closer to hell. Ooh, I don't know. Hi, Watha. Hey there. Good to see ya. I don't know. Is there a Spider-Man song? Amy Lynn, I don't know. Um, maybe he is setting up the insanity plea. He's doing a bang up job of it if that's what he's doing. Now, on a serious note, and I know y'all know I'm not a JP supporter at all. I don't pretend to be. I don't want to have any involvement whatsoever other than reporting. But I will say this. I as a healthcare professional, all right, and that's just from that part of my life because I deal with a lot of people. Y'all know, if you don't know, I work in a jail. I work with a lot of criminals. And if he were just hanging out at the jail, I would be very, very concerned about his mental health. And when I see some of his rants and some of his antics and stuff, I really feel like that cheese is just sliding right off his cracker. And and it bothers me because not that I'm not saying he doesn't deserve whatever his involvement. We know he was abusive. Not saying that, you know, he shouldn't have any consequences for his actions. But what I'm saying is I'm really starting to get a little bit worried that he could do something completely bizarre and hurt someone else or himself or just lose his mind. I mean, because you have to think about the worst thing that you can do to a narcissist is make them look bad, right? That is the one thing. They're in the business of gaslighting everybody else and making their victims think they are crazy, right? While the narcissist is the good guy. So in this case, like, how many hundreds of thousands of people are, hating on JP right now and saying all this stuff? That has got to be a narcissist's worst nightmare. Now, the problem with that is it can lead to violence, outbursts. I don't know. I'm just saying. Yeah, Texas Patty. Yeah, I just saw that you said that, narcissist. Yeah, I've said that a bunch of times. So it does. It worries me a little bit because I don't know what's going to be going on with him. What he might say or do or try to say about Mica or the family. Look, I think he's, like I said, the cheese sliding right off that cracker. All right, this crazy dude is only 6 miles away from me. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would be like a narcissist to create a big event, whether it is something that damaged property or whatever. Like, look, I could see him trying to fabricate an event that would make him look good or make Mica look bad. So I'm just saying, y'all take a little extra precaution. And honestly, he needs help. I mean, he needs help. He just does. He needs to be in a facility. He needs to be in counseling for a long, long time. Hello, Laura Thompson. You're gonna you cook, Laura, and do stuff around the house more than anybody I've ever seen in my whole life. I just need to hire you to come to mine. Like, you can find lots of stuff to do here. um, yeah. Um, Let's see, Just Robin. I agree with you, Silky. I'm waiting for him to do something drastic. Yes, me too. And if he unalives himself, no one will never know the extent of what he's done. You're right. Now, it is unlikely, I would say it normally is unlikely that a narcissist will self harm because they really think too much of themselves. However, in this case, because the dislike for JP is so great, I don't think that that is off the table, especially especially if the FBI starts asking questions. They may already have been. We don't know what they found so far. But if they keep investigating and he feels threatened, either with the finances and what could be going on, and et cetera, I I think that there is a very good possibility. I would expect first for him to fake his own demise and then turn up. Like, honestly, to me, JP is the kind of person who would fake his own death and then, like, be in the crowd of mourners, like mourning with them and watching everybody mourn him and say what a great guy he was. I mean, I could see him doing that. But there is that always that slight chance, and you're right. If that happened, then we would never know all of his dirty dealings. Um, and that would be bad because it's important that everything comes out. Hello, Alan Coker. You made a Spider-Man mask and T-shirt. I love Spider-Man. I really do. I kind of hated to see JP in that suit because he's probably one of right in the top three, if not the top one of my favorite characters. I love the X-Men though. They're the top. But Spider-Man, loves some Spider-Man. Um, yes, Texas Patty. It leads to narcissistic injury, which equals another roll in the grass. Yeah, yeah, you're right. That could be it. Pam is talking about comparing to David Koresh. Yeah, you know what? I don't think. And this is just me, and I will tell you one right now. I don't know what the true story is, but I've watched a lot of different stuff on David Koresh, and I don't think at all. And let me just leave this out there for y'all to go chew on. I don't think that everything in the media that was presented to us was 100% accurate. Now, was he a wackadoodle? It would appear to be. But I still think there was some things that just weren't reported quite correctly. Um, oh, Alan Coker, you should wear it out in public. You be Spidey and be proud. I mean, hey, JP can do it. You can do it. Yes, Jay, absolutely. Narcissists rarely actually hurt themselves, but regularly threaten to. It's just another control tactic. Yeah, exactly. It is very, very rare for a narcissist to take themselves out. Um, but if we hear of his demise, I'm serious. Look for him in the crowd. I bet he'll be there. Um, yes, mythical. It was crazy last week with the police writing tickets for honking their horns. Yeah, I was at work last week and I had to just like check in and out and see, what was going on every once in a while. And I did catch part of that though. I'm like, good God, what a mess, y'all. I don't even know. I mean, I'm like I said, I support the protest. But as it goes on, it's just like I hope that things don't escalate too badly. You know what I'm saying? Um, wow, Pam. So you went down to the Waco compound. Yeah, you'll have to tell me about that. Uh, there's a whole lot of stuff. Amy Lynn, you are too funny. You are too funny. You're putting the roll in the weeds on a loop and make it your ringtone. out in public and that phone goes off, people are going to be like, what the? But you see, it's exactly things like that that are going to humiliate a narcissist. Do I think he deserves it? 1000%. Yes, but I guess it's just that it's not. I think it's just the part of me as a healthcare person that's like, oh, this is bad. This is really bad. He's not gonna handle this well. Um, yes, when you get that ringtone, let's all blow up Amy's phone. Yeah. Oh, that was terrible. That was terrible. All right, so let's take bets right now. You have a thought. What's going to happen at the protest tomorrow? What do you think we're going to see? Do you think we're going to see a Spidey revival? You know what? The 4th is coming up. So is it going to be Captain America? Maybe we're going to see that. I mean, I hope he didn't come out just rolled up in an American flag. That's all I hope. Because ain't nobody want to look at that. Um, So yeah, tell me what do you think? What do you think? What is your let's just take bets right now. Oh, Batman. You're saying Batman. Batman. I love some Batman too. Gosh, love Batman. Batman and Spidey are my favorite superheroes. Um yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. If you have a thought, if you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Let's see what's going to happen. All right, let's go on. I think that's all of Mica. Um, let's see. Oh, no. Okay, we got one more on Mica. On June 24th, the North Carolina Medical Examiner released its investigation report confirming that Mica Miller passed away by unaliving herself from a gunshot wound to the head at Lumber River State Park on April 27th. Now, let me say this. I did read, and I think I did like a very short little video on the findings of that. And, you know, I wasn't that moved by it, really, honestly. The fact that they found THC in her system, and they said, what I was moved by is the medical examiner's report about, okay, she had no primary care physician. So because of that, she wasn't given a regular prescription, all right, for something like Vistaril that she eventually got, or Buspar, or something that's very mild anti-anxiety. So she was self-medicating. But the report says, when she was admitted to one of these facilities, that she was dependent on THC. And I'm like, you can be emotionally, maybe mentally dependent on it, but physically, it's almost impossible. Like, it's not addictive, except for the way it relaxes you and you want to have that. But as far as a chemical addiction, like you would be to opiates or benzos or, amphetamines, something like that, no, it doesn't. It's not that kind of problem. So the fact that one of her diagnoses is she was dependent on it, why she was dependent on it? Because she was having anxiety. She was just having, like, could you be married to JP and not have anxiety? Because I don't think I could. And so I think that it's easy to run into a store. Now I have never tried it, but it's legal. I don't know. Delta 8 and Delta 10 are legal in the state of Alabama. But even though it's legal, like for me as a nurse, the reason I can't ever use it, first of all, I don't use it anyway, but it it still shows up as THC in the urine and stuff like that. So it would still cost me my nursing license, even though Delta 8 and Delta 10 are legal. Delta 9 is not. So you can go into any like little convenience store around here and pick up a Delta 8 or a Delta 10 pen. Um, Gummies, CBD gummies, I've used those before, but they don't show up as anything. I haven't had, but look, I swear by CBD. A couple of years ago, I was in the worst job ever my whole life. And yeah, there were times that I would take a gummy before the CEO was coming to visit. Because I was like, cannot stand you, sir. Anyway, uh, but still, that is something that's legal, even though it shows up as THC. You can legally buy it. I imagine South Carolina's the same way, but yes, you're right. Legal doesn't mean it's safe. It sure doesn't. It does not. And you don't really know what's in those pens. I have seen people get all messed up. As a matter of fact, somebody, this was back in the winter, somebody showed up at the jail. He honestly, this is a crazy story. It was an older guy, like, I don't know. He was like late 60s, early 70s. Older guy walks into the sheriff's office, into the lobby, and he says he needs to, I don't know, pay some kind of bill, his electric bill, whatever, some kind of bill. And he's like, he's crazy, like crazy, flopping everywhere. At first, we kind of thought it was an amphetamine, but then as we looked at, watched him, it was not. It was definitely not an amphetamine. And, well, the regular kind, okay? So he's in the lobby. He didn't have a warrant, but he was absolutely out of control. So when he walked in the lobby, they grabbed him and took him down to booking and arrested him, until basically it wore off, and we ended up having to send him out, because then he started having, it was so hard on his system being an older guy like that. And now when he came back, I'm not really sure if he knew what he took, but he went into, he said the last thing he remembered is he went into a convenience store and he bought what he thought was an energy drink, but it was not the regulars. Like, it wasn't no Red Bull. There are things that are legal. I don't understand how these things are legal, but it is a complete other substance, and I can't talk about those substances too much on here, but yeah, it was, now once he came down, and it took at least 24 hours, it was crazy. He was back to normal, but he honestly, he says, but whichever, he definitely got a hold of something legally from the convenience store. Let's see. Yes, just Robin. Same in Alabama. It will show up in a drug test. It sure will. Um, I like your guesses. Pam says JP's going to show up as George Washington. Texas Patty says Abraham Lincoln. Oh, let's see what JP shows up as tomorrow. Okay, but yeah, the point being, okay, we know at the end that she was on hydroxyzine, which is Vistaril, which is so mild, y'all, so mild. It is, I have seen, and I had this discussion with somebody in the comments on that video. I have honestly seen people addicted to Benadryl. It's the craziest thing. But I have never, I'm not saying I guess that you couldn't be, but I have never in all these years ever seen anybody who is physically dependent on Vistaril. They are both in the same class. They're very, very similar. Very, very similar medicines. Vistaril, of course, you have to have a prescription for, but it it relaxes you a little bit, not even a whole lot. It just makes you cope a little bit better. And sometimes it doesn't even do that. It's like one of those, it's so mild, as a matter of fact, that we used to give it back a long time ago when I worked in a long term care facility. We used to give it to our patients that would be itchy for they were having a reaction to like maybe the laundry detergent or whatever reason they would break out and they would have like little itchy spots. um we would give them Vistaril and it would clear it up. So oh my gosh, just Robin, no, I haven't seen that. Have I seen the video of JP shirtless wearing the necklace of Mica's ashes? I think he's trying to be, how do I say this on YouTube? Shermexy. Shermexy. No. No. That's too much. That is a big fat no for me. Don't want to see that either. Yes. There is, yeah, spice. Spice will make you crazy. Absolutely. All right. So the fact that she had Vistaril and that at one time she was, to me, that's not a big deal. I hope nobody's upset about that because I think that she was desperate. I know for one thing, if I didn't have a doctor to give me Vistaril or something, and I was being stalked, harassed, tires slashed, a PI following me, whatever, like, look, I would be a little on edge. Now, I would probably handle it different, but, look, I just think she was, I think there was just something, like, she was desperate, absolutely desperate. She probably couldn't sleep. Can you imagine, him tracking you everywhere all this time? She probably had a lot of problems resting. So that could be one of the reasons also. Yeah, oh, something you can't unsee. Yeah, well, I don't want to see it, as a matter of fact. But let me ask y'all, because I have a picture, and I didn't load it up. I showed this, like, really early, really early in this investigation. I think it was, like, the first half of May. There was a picture of JP and Skinner, and it was like a Facebook post, and they were in a bed together, and he's shirtless, and it says it was January 30th or something like that. Anyway, he has, and I was thinking, is this it looks like JP, and I wondered, he's got a tattoo of praying hands on the left side of his chest, I think. Was that in the picture, or is that somebody else? Because that's who they are saying is JP. Not that I care. I really don't care. I mean, you're not going to make, my opinion of him is not going to get any worse or any better. Yeah, you're right, Jay. It is. I think this is ridiculously hard for JP because of all the bad attention. I don't think he ever in his life imagined that he could have so much hatred because he is a legend in his own mind. And so I think, and it happened so fast, I think if it had happened a different way, I mean, come on, when he was caught in adultery before and all this stuff, people still loved him. And now he's got like this monumental hatred. It's got to be really hard. All right. So, wait, hold on. Who said Jesus was going to show up last week? Did JP say Jesus was going to show up? Did he say anything this week? Who can we expect? Let me go ahead and say this, JD. I have a feeling that JP and his dad, along with his lawyer and Pastor Randall, are somehow involved in her passing away. It would not surprise me. And what I said on earlier videos forever ago now, I think they are involved in more illegal stuff, and it would not surprise me. And I actually had somebody say this in my comments this week. It would not surprise me if following the bunny trail through all of the sketchy LLCs and the monies that were raised and never went to these places? Is there an element of trafficking, moving humans as well? I think that is entirely possible and maybe even probable. And I think, yes, exactly, Pam. I think Micah knew way too much. And I think she, as long as, okay, because y'all think about it. As long as JP could keep her married to him and he could control her, keep her on lithium, keep her on whatever, and keep her on that roller coaster of trying to please him and being scared to get away or feeling trapped. As long as he could hold on to her, he could control what she would talk about, what she could find out. Although I think that she found out a lot of stuff, but he could control the narrative as long as he could control Mica. When he could not control her anymore, and it became evident as the day that he shows up at the video of the dealership where, he says he's going to post something on social media and she says you're going to go to jail later. I feel like at least at that point, that she was beginning to really stand up to him, and I think it scared him. All right. He doesn't like being discarded. We saw that from that other video. And that is a problem for a narcissist, but also she was very, very dangerous to him and to all of them. So could he have gotten other people involved in this? I don't think, honestly, it was just about a divorce. I mean, he could have wanted to hold on to her and control her and that kind of stuff. But anything to this degree, I think this definitely speaks of something that is far scarier. And if you want to think about other people being involved, why would they be involved in a divorce? They wouldn't. I mean, it would be like, oh, well, that's terrible, son. Or my friend. But to participate in something, if they did, or if there's any links to that, there is definitely a much bigger reason that somebody would do that. All right. Let's go on. Let's see what else we're talking about. All right, Riley Strain. I know this is, and look, people are still talking about this. Lots of groups. I get lots of stuff. And I have left the links below to some of this stuff. If you look you can see where it came from. All right, this month, and I think, I don't know. This case makes me nervous that it's never really going to be resolved. I guess the way that we'd like to see it resolved, that worries me. But here were the updates for this month, in case you missed them. There were significant updates regarding the Riley Strain case. The Tennessee Alcohol Beverage Commission, TABC, completed its investigation into whether Riley Strain was overserved alcohol on the night of his disappearance. The investigation concluded that there was no evidence that Strain was overserved. All right, and there's the link to the article is here, but there's a lot to say about Riley. Still. All right, this finding is particularly noteworthy because it addresses one of the key questions surrounding Strain's disappearance and subsequent passing away. The investigation's results suggest that the bar where Strain was last seen did not violate any regulations regarding alcohol service. All right. They're going to keep pushing this too. And I'm not saying that they did overserve him. I actually don't think they did. That's just my opinion. I don't think they overserved him alcohol. Now, it sounds like when you listen to people, and you listen to Jennifer Coffindaffer and some of these other people, even Nick Barris, it sounds like it's cut and dried. Oh, he had a bunch of alcohol in his system, and it was a terrible accident. He fell over the railing, fell into the water, and, That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. Now, was he intoxicated? Yes. Um, is it the true story? It cannot look. We're going to talk about this in a second. It is impossible. It is impossible for that to have happened. If you've listened to me talk about Riley, you know this. Okay. Medical examiner's report, which was previously released, had determined that Strain's cause of death was accidental drowning. The TABC investigation adds another piece to the puzzle, indicating that excessive alcohol consumption at the bar was likely not a contributing factor to the tragic events that unfolded that night. So, they're saying, well, it's not the alcohol. I agree. Actually, with that. It wasn't the alcohol, but I don't agree with the rest of their nonsense. These updates provide some closure to certain aspects of the case, though they may also raise new questions about the circumstances leading to Strain's death. The findings from both the medical examiner and the TABC investigation help to clarify the sequence of events on the night of Strain's disappearance. Yes, it helps us to figure out what happened up to the point that he got to the bridge. Now, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. And, aw, I see Sachi over there. Hold on. Let me give her the screen for a second. Hey, Sach. Need to put a white picture behind there so you can actually see her. All right. But let's look at this, okay? Here are the other questions, and this is where we'll talk about it a little bit. Okay, the family autopsy results have not been made public. As far as I know, as of a couple of days ago, I was still looking. And then I also read, somebody tell me if this is true, because I saw it in one place and I didn't screenshot it, but I saw it somewhere that the family had also requested a second autopsy to that one, which I don't know, because they've already got one. Now, the reason, let's talk about, if you don't know anything about Riley Strain, the reason that they wanted another autopsy is because Nashville wasn't going to do anything more than the standard. And let me just tell y'all something. Oh my God, that autopsy report, the parts that, I've seen, that's not what, and it's not what toxicology usually looks like. Look, it is the craziest thing. A report like that is long. If you've seen autopsy reports in other cases, you know how long they are, how long the toxicology is, how much depth it goes into. And that seemed pretty lame, in my opinion, very brief. The only other autopsy report that I have seen that looks like that was the case of Tanner Barton that I was covering about this time last year. It's not the same circumstances, but a lot of it is very similar. The asphyxiation and possible, substances involved. And his autopsy was, crap too. So it looks like to me that Nashville did the bare minimum. They do not, as a standard, check for things like GHB or Rohypnol, because that's extra. You have to pay extra for that. Now, you would think that they would want to be very thorough because it was national news, but apparently they didn't. So there you go. So the family ordered a second one, and they I'm sorry, I got distracted. The family ordered a bunch of add-on tests, and maybe they even wanted some more. Buckeye said, I read Robin Williams' autopsy report. It was 35 pages long. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. An autopsy report is a lot of pages, and it's a lot of detail that if you're not, if you don't have a really in-depth medical knowledge, some things you just don't understand, Like, huh? What does that mean? I gotta go look that up. All right. Let me see. Yeah, mythical. Someone would have heard him hit the water. As many homeless people are there. Yes. Um, and I'm going to talk about that again in just a second because, I was there. I was there. For days. For days. Um, okay. All right, Robin. Good to see you. Thanks for hanging with us. Um, hey, Sharon. Whoops, wait. Let me get this right. Hello, Sharon. Good to see you. Um, but here's the thing. All right. We've got the autopsy results that we don't have the results of yet. I have got to know. There are two things, and I've said this before, there are two things that I desperately want to know that even the Nashville one, the MNPD, they did not, that one, Nashville didn't put it in there at the time of death. What is the time of death? If maybe y'all saw that, but I did not see it anywhere that I looked. That is critical, in my opinion, because he was in the water for a couple of weeks, right? At least 2 weeks. And according to, or from the time he went missing, right? 2 weeks. So is that what the body showed? What was the time of death? The other thing I want to know is, was there GHB or Rohypnol in his system or something, even ketamine, something like that? I want to know what other things were in his system besides alcohol. Now, some things we would not potentially know, but I've talked about this when I talked about smiley face, and if you go back and watch some of those videos, you know that GHB at the time of death, it doesn't matter. If there was GHB in his system the day that he passed away, 2 years from now, you could dig up the body and you would still find the same, not close to, not traces of, the same level of GHB will stay indefinitely. All right. So if he didn't have any GHB, it would make me wonder, okay, then you have to compare the time of death. What does it say? How long was that body in the water? If the body only had decomp for 1 week, and there's no GHB in the system, that doesn't mean that there wasn't GHB in his drink that night. It just had dissipated, right? Because it goes out of the body fairly quickly. It increases quickly, but it goes out quickly. Now, these are things that are really, really important, and I don't think that Nashville wants anybody talking about this, all right? Another thing that people keep saying, and it is true, like, look, was he followed? A lot of people have looked at the cars, look, this has been analyzed and analyzed, both when he was in downtown Nashville and then when he was a few blocks away on Gay Street, where the bridge is. There have been many speculations about the cars that were very similar that followed, and I have said this on another video the night that, and this is before they found Riley, the night that CJ and I went walking around in the sketchy part of past the bridge. There were a lot of cars, a lot of cars. They were mostly all black. There were a lot of cars coming and going that looked like the same car, even when we were out there. And I didn't even, I didn't pay attention. I was walking, I was trying to be aware of my surroundings, but it just made me wonder what that was about, who those people were. Was it the same cars? Because if a lot of them weren't, then everybody in Nashville drives a black SUV or a black car, and I know that's not true. It was very interesting though when I went back and really analyzed the video. So a lot of people have questioned that. I don't know on that part. Was he followed? He could have been. Definitely a lot of things that when you look at the little bits of footage that we do have, it's like, I don't know. People were on scooters that night. Of course, the homeless were there. There was a lot of activity. That's the thing. At 9 o'clock or 9 something, right around 9, between 9 and 10, on a Saturday night, Nashville is not dead, okay? There's people all over the place. Now, it's not huge with the crowds on Gay Street like it is, up in the district, but it's not dead either because of all the people in the scooters and the homeless people. Now, a lot of them may have been, kind of winding down for the night, but there are still people out there. Just because you can't see them behind the bushes does not mean they're not there. Definitely scooters all over the place all the time. And this was a night thing, so yeah. I think it would have been really, really difficult to not see. Of course, there were cameras that we haven't seen. We've seen part of the surveillance cameras from the Birch building that was right there by the bridge, but we haven't seen all of them. So where's this? Like, look, there's just too much. There is too much. They say they're grainy. You can't see anything. I don't buy all of that. Okay. Yes. How long was he in the water, Buckeye? Exactly. Exactly. Um, yes, you're right. They reported that as the D-Day, the day that he went missing. But that's what I want to know by a full autopsy report. Is that the D-Day? Because just saying, we're putting this, so he went missing this day, so we're going to say this. Well, what did the decomp say? Because that is going to mean everything. Why was he running when he left Luke's? What were all those shenanigans across from the Birch building? Scooter guys, someone carrying something heavy. I've looked at a lot of that. There's a lot of that footage online, and like there's one video that's like 2 hours, and I watched and I was like, I really can't sit here for 2 hours and watch this, but I would look every time there was movement. I couldn't tell, like I would not be able to identify anybody, but I saw several people, they said, oh, this looks like Riley. Well, it doesn't look like Riley. If you look at the shirt that he was wearing, that is not the same in the video, like, because it was like black and white. And if you look at it, the way that they're turned, I didn't see personally anybody that I could say was Riley, except somewhere walking on down, even past that area, there was somebody who was extremely tall, but they were far in the distance. Really, really tall guy, which Riley was. And I'm like, I can't make out who this is, but that is definitely one tall drink of water right there. So anyway, I don't know. Everybody says Riley was up, so I think, maybe. Yes, the autopsy was as minimal as they could get. Absolutely. It was almost a joke. It was almost to me, I kind of felt like it was a slap in the face. Now, we're going to talk about the homeless theory, all right? Now, I'm going to show you something by Chris Dingman that he put on in one of the Facebook groups. And I wish to high heaven, I always, like, I beat myself up for this all the time, but, like, I try to only screenshot things that I think may just go poof, and I didn't think this one would, because it was in a Facebook group, and Mr. Dingman talks a lot. If you don't know who Chris Dingman, I'm saying Dingman, Dingman, if he is a friend of the family, like he's the spokesperson for the family, because clearly it's hard. It's hard to talk about. So, I've had a brief conversation with him online also in the beginning of this. He's a really nice guy, and he had put a post, a long, long post in one of the Facebook groups, and, he ended up taking it down because he had to retract one thing that he said that he found out later was untrue. So he corrected it, but he took the whole first post down as far as I can tell. I can't find it. But in this post, he said that recently they had talked to and figured out that the guy that the homeless people said they saw was definitely not Riley. He said that there was some confusion at first. Sorry, you know how it is. I always get fuzz up in here. He said at first there was a confusion and they thought it was Riley, but after further talking to him, they realized it was not. And they kind of went, you know, so many people were asking him questions there in, you know, the beginning. And they were, the homeless, like, were kind of being rewarded. Like, they were being given things, like, for information. And so they went along with it. You know, of course. Of course. That's not surprising. But eventually, when they talked to the original guy that said he saw Riley, and Riley, you know, he heard, you know, somebody say that he was just drunk, you know, that whole scenario. When they got down to it, they found out that that was another guy, because that they actually talked to the guy that was intoxicated and running around down there. All right, so if that is true, and I have no reason to believe it's not true, certainly Mr. Dingman thinks it is, and that throws off everything, okay? Potentially. It doesn't mean that Riley didn't go over at some point or whatever, or some of his belongings, but it does maybe change the exact place that he went off somewhere around the homeless camp, where the ledges are, and then on down closer to the Birch building. That is the best that we can figure that he went in the water, if he indeed went in the water that night. There is another, you know, whole thing. Let's see. Pam Frenchman, in my opinion, I think there is an SK that travels. That is exactly the smiley face SK theory, which I have done, I don't know, 3-4 videos on smiley face and Riley. I keep getting people in these groups, in Riley Strain's groups, that are saying, has anybody ever, you know, put, you know, smiley face together with Riley Strain? And other people are you know, answering, no, it's not that, because there was not a smiley face. And I'm like, you know what? I've said it over and over and over in these groups. Yes, there was. Yes, there was. There was. I'm tired. The last comment I made is like, hey, I've said this 100 times. Nobody listens. Yes, there was. And we caught it. One of my videos, there's a couple of my videos, but if you watch the first day, the very first day, now it's harder to see, but the first day that CJ and I went to Nashville, it was on March 20th. We went down there looking for Riley. And at one point, there's either 2 or 3 cameras on. My camera goes, I left the group and I went down to where the door is that has the smiley face on it. I didn't recognize it really. Well, I was just filming that day. But I wanted to see, and I got enough glimpse of it to know it was there. But then we passed it. We filmed it. I don't know how many times we passed that door. And it wasn't until I sat myself down and I really started reviewing footage, and I was like, holy crap, how did we miss that? Well, the first thing is, I didn't know. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know. I had heard about smiley face, but it's been a long time, and I didn't put it together. I was very confused about happy face, which I knew was solved. And so, you know, you're down there. Look, we were down there day after day. It was a long drive. We were tired. We're like, sometimes the brain cells, they just don't work. Mine didn't. I don't know. Maybe his worked fine. Mine did not. But, so all that I can say is for me. So a lot of people put in the live chat, what about, you know, smiley? And I'm like, I don't know. We kind of dismissed it. But then there was just so much that I really, really went and I studied that case very thoroughly. All right, I watched hours and hours and hours and hours of documentaries on Smiley. Does it fit the profile? Well, we got to get the whole tox reports, but not even with Smiley. Not everybody has GHB or Rohypnol or something like that or ketamine in their system. But there is always something that is off. Okay, there's something wrong about like maybe time of death versus decomp. Does he fit the profile? 1000%. Riley does. Absolutely, without a doubt. Is there a smiley face down there? Yes. Is it related to homeless people and transient ones? Yes. Is it also gang related? Yes. I've put that picture up I don't know how many times. There is something that appears to be a gang. There is some gang signs down there, not a whole lot. But there is something on the door that is very possibly, probably gang related, as well as a smiley face. So there you go. I don't know what to say anymore. Like nobody listens. I'm like, whatever. Y'all just go about your merry way. It's because y'all just not even reading what I'm saying. All right. Let's see. There was somebody. Hey, Sherry Faye. I knew I'd see you somewhere. Good to see ya. Good to see you, Sherry Faye. All right, so no, that's okay. I don't think that whatever you say in chat is going to be a bad. I'm not supposed to say bad words like, so I say SK. All right, so now that's one thing. Let's go back to this. Does it fit the profile? Yes, 1,000 times yes. The homeless testimony per Chris was debunked. All right. So could they still have been involved? Yes, but that particular guy that they're talking about is actually, they know now, was not Riley. Just wasn't. Not that he couldn't have met some trouble down in that exact area. Now, the last thing is the terrain. Oh my gosh, y'all. And let me say this, if you have not, and it's been several months, if you have not watched the videos, I don't have, I was streaming from CJ's. I didn't stream by myself down there, so you were catching different angles. If you will go to CJ's Crime Concepts, you want to see the terrain. He's got some good GoPro footage of up under, like where supposedly Riley fell off. All that area down there, the whole terrain, and you can see, because when you see pictures, I look at this and I see stuff that people post online, and I'm like, just looking at the pictures, I would think that someone could fall off the railing and fall into the water. But it is impossible. Impossible. When you are there and you see, it's not like the pictures where it's not that far. I mean, you can see that there's a big drop until you are there. And then it's like, well, holy crap. And here is the thing. 1000%, y'all. Riley, they're saying there was no injuries. If that is true, if there are no broken bones or scratches or any bruises or any no major damage, if that is 100% true, then let me tell you something. Riley did not, 1,000% did not go over there. Go over that railing. Because anywhere in that area, if you were to go, it's in levels and it's like a little cliff. And there's a lot of trees, lots of vegetation. You are not going to go down there and not be hurt and have injuries. It is not possible to do that. Okay? So I'm sorry. Yes, Jay, if he fell, he would have been caught by a bush or tree 50 different times. 100%. Yeah. Because we were there. I think we were there 2 days before his body was found. And then we were there after. All right? And the vegetation was the same. But I want you to, so it just, the rocks, like, look. Every time I hear somebody say, oh, he fell into the water, I'm just like, that's a horse pucky. It is complete horse pucky. He did not fall in the water if he fell anywhere in that area. It didn't happen. It's one of those things. I'm just sick of saying it. I don't know. Look at the video. Look at the video, and you will see exactly. But let me show you something else that I found that Mr. Dingman put on here, because he took his one post down. Now, this is a longer post, and he's kind of explaining why he did this. But let me show you this and read this to you, okay? This is a post that he's put on one of the groups, I don't know, in the last couple of days. Okay, he says, I would like to personally bring up more info on the artificial body experiments that the crew did, and I'll tell you about that in just a minute. Multiple times, showing Riley could not have landed directly in the water from falling under the bridge, because the experiments were done also during an elevated water level that was equal as the evening Riley went missing. So hopefully moving forward, this crew can still put together the pieces that MMPD refused to acknowledge and get the truth the family deserves, and not just the MNPD theories with no visual or physical evidence when they closed the case locally. Yes, exactly. Now, I will tell you this, and I was going to do a whole episode on Riley. Go look at Pascal. He did, within the last week, he had, I think, did he have Chris? I think Chris Dingman was on there. Is that who he was talking to? Lord, my brains. There's so much that's happened. Go watch the latest update from Pascal on Riley, and you will see tons and tons of information about how they did. People took and look, they built a replica of like the exact height, weight, proportion, everything to Riley, and they were experimenting by throwing this dummy over the edge to see how it could go. Is there any way it could possibly go? Because people are saying right and left to us, well, the water was higher that night. It was higher that night, but it just so happened that the day that they did I want to say reconstruction. Is that the right word? Anyway, when they did these tests, it just so happened that the water level was the exact level. It was one of those weird coincidences. The water level was exactly the same as it was on March 20th. So even with all of these, they tried every which way to see how a body could fall into the water and be washed downstream, and they couldn't do it because it's not possible. It is not possible, y'all. I don't know what to tell you. I've been there. I've seen it. You can't do it. As a matter of fact, someone told me, I can't even remember who it was now. They did an experiment with a tire, okay? Just a tire. Now, tires are rubber and bouncy, and they have a lot of, unlike the human body that just kind of, falls, a tire will bounce. They put tires over the edge where they say Riley fell and watched them bounce, and still, as they went down, and they did this several times, they couldn't even get a bouncy tire to hit the water. So you tell me how Riley's gonna fall down that cliff and not be injured and get in the water. No. Buckeye said, we convinced you it's not. Yeah, it's not possible. It is not possible. 100%. No way. I don't know. They can say whatever they want to. It's not possible. Let's see. Jay says, I'll never get over his frat brothers doing nothing to help. Yeah, there is some, there have been different things that I guess this is one of the reasons that Chris took down his first post about that where he went into more detail about the homeless guy that wasn't Riley. He said he thought that he had said some things about the frat brothers that he found out was not true. They have talked to people, and there was more to that story. So, and I don't know where the truth is, but he took that post down because he did say they did more than he thought. Still, do I think, from what we know, all right, I wasn't there. From what we know, do I think they did enough? I don't think so. But, all right, in my opinion, he was held somewhere and placed in water by that barge a few days before found. That would definitely line up with Smiley Face. That's the thing. If you don't know about Smiley Face, the victims are usually, a lot of times they're abducted off the street. People do follow them. They convince somebody. Usually they're roofied or they're GHB'd and they're more compliant. Somebody talks them into getting into a car. They're taken off. All manner of things happen to them, but they're either gone, a day or two before they're in the water, or sometimes I think one was like, was it 60 days? I can't remember. There was one Smiley SK case that it was, I know it was over a month, and then the decomp on the body did not line up with what they said his, oh yeah, they put his, date of death as the original date that he came up missing. And it's like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous when you just have a mild to moderate decomp and the guy's been gone for 2 months or a month and a half, whatever. Like, come on, we're not stupid. I don't know. Like, it makes my brain hurt when people do things like this. I can't even with y'all. So is it possible that he was put there by the barge? It's possible. Also, that is a private. I'm sorry, y'all. It's so hot. That is also a private where the barge was. It's not open to the public. Okay, you can't just drive up in there because I was going to. I thought the last time I was in Nashville, which was a couple of months ago, and I was looking for Matthew Parasini as well. I thought, you know what, I'm going to go the 8 miles and I'm going to go down there to where they found Riley. And then I realized when I looked at the map and I looked at people's comments and stuff about the area, you cannot get in the gate. It's gated, can't get in there. So how did they get in there? Was it somebody, if that is true, was it somebody related or somebody, to that company or somebody that had access or had secret access? We don't know. But definitely, again, this is why the time of death is so important. So I'm not happy with the whole Riley Strain thing. And I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't care if he was Smiley Face or not. But what I would like to know the details, because that's going to tell us whether it is just one person who wants to unalive, somebody or a group of people that just wanted to steal his stuff, whatever. He was intoxicated. Was it just a fluke, just wrong place, wrong time? Because if it wasn't, and it was part of this organized crime that is known as Smiley Face, you're going to see more victims. Sometimes months and months pass before somebody else. But y'all, go Google how many people they've pulled out of the Cumberland River since Riley. Because there was like 3 immediately. And then every time I turn around, I'm hearing something about body pulled out of Cumberland River in Nashville. This one, that one. Like, it's crazy. It is crazy. And females as well. All right, let's go on and get the rest of these done, because I know. All right, if you are following, there's not a whole lot to say about Caleb Harris, but it is huge news, or potentially huge news, okay? On June 24th, now remember, if you don't know about Caleb, because some people have actually wondered if Caleb was in the same situation as Riley. He was not right on the water, but the water wasn't, it was like a mile and a half away. It was kind of a different, like his age and everything, like that was pretty standard for a Smiley, but the way that he disappeared wasn't necessarily. Um, Although, not they're not all cookie cutter, the cases. If you don't remember, it was Caleb. It was in March. Also, Caleb is literally right outside his apartment complex. They had a new puppy. Him and his roommates had gone out to walk the dog. Then he ordered Uber for the next day. He was gonna go fishing, and so he's waiting for the Uber driver. He's out walking around. It was a nice night. It was foggy, but I guess it wasn't that cold. He's out at dark 30 in the morning, waiting on Uber, and the Uber driver comes. There's nobody out there. They drop the food off, and by the way, the Uber driver and the roommates and all of Caleb's friends have all been cleared. All right. But Caleb is walking around, and there is like a little. It's not a big bridge. It's almost. I don't even really call it that much of a bridge, but he's walking down there, just whatever, in the middle of the night, and he takes a Snapchat picture of kind of this little bridge as he's walking, sends it to somebody, and then all of a sudden he disappears, like vanishes off the face of the earth. And of course, people don't realize right then that he vanished because it was people were going to bed, whatever. And then they realized they saw his food out on the porch, and they're like, "Oh, okay, something's wrong." They looked for Caleb. They had so much searching immediately. Combed that area. This is the thing. They combed the area by the house, and most of that ground out there in Texas is flat. It's not like you've got forests to go through. All right, it's not like searching in Tennessee. This is this is out in flat Texas, but they had aircrafts going over. They had so many volunteers. They had so much searching, and they very quickly did a 50 square mile search, and they could not find any trace of Caleb. Now, what happened this week is human remains were discovered in a wastewater well near Caleb Harris's apartment complex. What? A wastewater well? All right. So now remember, he's been missing since March. The remains were found by a city worker in a 40-foot deep well that serves as a wastewater collection point. The Corpus Christi Police Department confirmed the discovery of the remains, and the well is right there. He was last seen on March 4th. It's very close to his off-campus residence. All right, on June 26th, authorities revealed that the remains showed no obvious signs of homicide. However, due to the advanced state of decomposition, I'm probably not going to say this right, the Nueces County Medical Examiner's Office was unable to identify the remains or determine the cause and manner of death, and that was like immediately looking, okay? On June 29th, the police said that the remains were going to be sent to the University of Texas for ID and DNA analysis. So, that's going to take a long time. We'll be waiting. The CCPD is still actively investigating how the human remains ended up in the wastewater lift station collection well. Yeah, how does that happen? I mean, I don't know if you're not a worker there, but if you were a worker there, you would be missing from your job, right? So, I mean, how does a body just show up there and nobody knows? Authorities noted that the area where the remains were found had been extensively searched earlier in the investigation of Harris's disappearance. This raises questions about how and when the remains came to be in the well. Exactly, because I told you they had an extensive search right from the get-go. Like, they were on it. Unlike Riley, that people were just, it took the TikTokers and the YouTubers to get out there and really search. But no, they were on it from the beginning. Now, they had, when it says they had investigated extensively, did they look in the wastewater well? I mean, I don't know. Would you? I don't, I have not heard specifically whether they looked in there. I'm thinking not, because one of two things. Either he wasn't in there, unless it was right within probably 3, 4 days of the very beginning. And then if he did drown in there, then his body probably would not have floated for a while. But honestly, it sounds like there's a good chance it could be him, given the decomp and the length of time that Caleb has been missing. And the fact that they've literally searched everywhere thoroughly and not been able to find anything. So, but now we're talking about so many months. If they positively identify him, they're still not, probably, it depends. It depends. But they may not ever know the cause of death. Did he just, like, what did he do? Is there a way to climb up the side? You know? Think about the Elisa Lamb thing where she climbed up into the water thing. She was acting crazy in the elevator and then they found her body in there. I don't know. That was a crazy case. Did he decide to do something crazy while he was waiting for his Uber and climb up the side of that? I don't know if that's even possible. Okay. But yeah, it was crazy. Let's see. Buckeye says, my intuition says Riley and Caleb are somehow connected, but I can't figure it out. Went missing 4 days apart. Yeah, that was what was weird. I'll grant you that for sure. And distance could have been a distance that could have been easily driven. You're right. It could have, from Nashville to Corpus Christi, especially with several days. What made everybody kind of think about Smiley and the smiley face and Riley is the fact that, as far as the kind of victims that they are, they're very similar as far as age and, education, that type of thing. And certainly that lines up with Smiley. And people have been saying for a long time, did they search the water area, which is an ocean, near Caleb's house, a mile and a half away? It's like, good luck. It's the ocean. You might find something, but yeah, both guys found by workers. That, good point. Good point. Let's see, hurricane floodwaters, Alberta may have stirred up things, so there was a sewer blockage the workers had to investigate, in my opinion. Possibly. Look, it is, there are some things that are similarities and some things that really aren't. I wouldn't say, it is a body of water, but it's not the same exactly MO as Smiley because, somebody's not intoxicated falling accidentally into the river. That's the way the story goes for all of Smiley. Every single one of them. And Caleb's a little bit different, but did somebody pick him up? Now, I'm not going to go into this because it is very disturbing for the family, so I am not going to mention a whole lot here. You can look it up if you're interested. Caleb, it is now known that Caleb did agree to meet somebody that was a stranger, and it is a very upsetting situation. Could that person have abducted him, kept him? Could it be one of the perpetrators? Smiley face isn't one person; it's a bunch of people. Could it? Yeah, it would be very different. It would be a very different mode of operation, but I don't know. But if you're interested, you can look it up. But it's not. I'm not going to mention it here because, like I said, the family, they have their reasons. They're very upset about this information, but they're not denying now anything that it could have happened Uh, Definitely there is another anonymous party that could be involved. And that's sketchy. Um, all right. Oh my gosh. We're going to zip through this. The next two, we're going to zip through them pretty quick. Although, God, Rex Heuerman. Are there words for this guy? I mean, I can't even with him. Um, I followed the Long Island SK case for a long time, for years, wondering if they were ever going to solve this. And now here we are. All right. Rex Heuerman. If you don't know, this is the Sterling character that they have arrested, who's behind bars right now, awaiting trial for, I think they have 6 unalivings. Are there 6? Oh, it's bringing the total number to 6. Okay, these are the Gilgo. You might also know this story by the Gilgo Beach unalivings or the Long Island SK. Anyway, last September, Heuerman was charged, and man, you want to see a PCA that is, oh my gosh. Like, when I read that PCA, I'm like, do they even need to have a trial? Like, the information, and it was perfect. Look, I rarely get all excited about probable cause affidavits because so many times in these cases, the police do like a crap job of just throwing random information together and arresting somebody. But it is a work of art. If you have the time and interest to read his probable cause, it's like, man, y'all investigated the heck out of this. Like, how is he ever going to get out of this? He's not. He's not. But it is a beautiful thing. If you are into that kind of stuff, I was like, I am truly impressed. All right, so in the month of June, Heuerman was charged with 2 additional crimes, bringing the total number of victims he's accused of unaliving to 6. The new charges are for the unalivings of Jessica Taylor, a 20-year-old escort worker who went missing in July 2003. All right, this is the kicker right here. Sandra Castilla, whose unaliving occurred in 1993. Wow, so that's even, like, we're going back. Now they have tied Sandra Castilla to him because the first one was in 1997, so we know, based on this, he was already hard at work in 1993, so the chances that he was hard at work before that are very good as well. Now, I'm glad that they have put that part together, but this is what was very, very disturbing. They decided to search his house again. And when they searched his house, they found a document on his hard drive. This document, which had been deleted but was recovered using forensic tools, contained lists. Like, look, y'all should look this up. It's got like little sections, list, problems, post-event, body prep, and then, like, look, on there, it documents all of the potential problems that you could have when you're planning a crime against somebody. Post-event, what did you do right? What did you do wrong? This is what happened. And then the body prep, like, how are you going to dispose of this body? Like, it's all on there. It's like oh my God. And this is on his hard drive. So, like, look, I'm sure a good attorney could find, creepy reasons that he didn't write this or whatever. But I'm just saying that this is going to hang him along with everything else. And, it's very disturbing to read, honestly. But to tell you the truth, I am very, very glad that they found it. It's just another nail. All right? Another nail. Instructions for evading detection, including changing tires and burning gloves. Yeah, because, that's the kind of thing I've got on my computer. Details on body disposal and cleanup procedures. Notes on potential dump sites and supplies needed for the crimes. Wow. Well, if that doesn't kick you in the teeth, Rex, nothing's going to. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I y'all ever do this? I don't know if anybody else does this because if you're into true crime, I sit there and I worry sometimes that somebody is going to have a reason to review my Google search history because there are some doozies on there, right? Because I get to thinking about, I'm reading about a crime, I'm thinking about something I'm covering, and I'm like, well, let me ask about this. And it's like every time I do this, I'm like, I hope nobody ever has an occasion to go through my Google search history because they're going to be like, what is wrong with her? But no, mine is always in research of SKs or perpetrators. But, you know, go explain that to the FBI because you're not going to look good. Um, yes, Jay, you are absolutely right. This one shows you just how crappy the Delphi PCA is. Yeah, the Delphi PCA is it's like a joke. Compare Delphi and Lesk, and you're like, are you out of your mind? Like, how could they even? And the thing with the Delphi one is now the affidavits that are the defense is using it, like they don't even line up with the PCA. The timelines are all wrong. But they're like it's a lie according to what the defense says. And I try to stay out of Delphi. Love that case. Love it. It is beyond toxic. It is a bowl of human waste right now. So I am not touching Delphi until the trial, most likely. But yeah, when you look at there is no comparison on those. You like, whose 5-year-old wrote the Delphi PCA? I agree with you, Texas Patty. This guy was very busy. In my opinion, he was busy while in college. Me too. Maybe even before, maybe as a teenager. Uh, yeah. You're right. And you're talking about mythical sub preachers. We're going to get back on that for just a second. In just a minute. Yeah, that is a thought, mythical. If BK did what he's being accused of, Brian Koberger, I assume you mean, in the Idaho 4 case, did what he's accused of, that had to be well planned for no evidence in his car. Yeah, yeah. And there is that. I watched Nancy Grace, and Howard Bloom wrote that book, and I mean, according to him, he says that Koberger's parents and sisters suspected him from the very beginning. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. There's so much in that case too. It's like a whole rabbit hole of its own. I'm in too many rabbit tunnels right now, but I don't know. I'm still out on whether BK is guilty. I could go either way. It's like some things don't really make sense. Other things, I mean, because sometimes I think Brian Koberger was a weird person. All right, no shade to weird people. I'm a weird person. Um, and I know this because people tell me this all the time, like in real life. Like, she's just weird. Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's okay. Little weirdness never hurt anybody. So was he just that kind of person that didn't fit in, and he was like the weird one? Um, and of course, people like that are always suspect in a crime because no normal person could do that, right? And I'm like, was he just like different than everybody else, and so that makes him a prime suspect? You know, there's so many things that make me wonder if there's some handed shady dealing going on. Was he just the perfect scapegoat? Like, look, I'm still out on this. The jury in my head is still out on this because I try to look at both sides, and I can see, some holes in the theory, and then other times I'm like, I don't know. What do I know? Um, yes, he could have. Uh, Brian Koberger could have sprayed the Elantra with OxyClean. Um, Yeah, he could have. That would, if he did. If they could find any. Okay, let me read this out for y'all that are listening online. BK could have sprayed out the inside of the Elantra with OxyClean for the 1.5 months before he was arrested. OxyClean destroys DNA evidence, and he'd know that. That would definitely, if that is true, then he would. It would definitely be a long pre-planning, right? It would be a big. Um, they could never say, oh, well, he was upset, somebody rejected him, manslaughter, which is not going to happen anyway, but, insanity, temporary insanity, because if there was something like that, then it would definitely show pre planning. uh, Sharon, you've been watching too much Dexter. All he had to do was line the interior of his car with plastic sheeting. Uh, yeah, that is true. By the way, it took me forever. Dexter was done. The whole series was done. The first one before I ever watched it. I thought I'd hate it. I didn't. I actually really liked that. Um, it was way better, more meaningful than I ever thought. But yeah, anytime I think of plastic sheeting, I think of Dexter. All right, so let's go and back to Heuerman. All right. Now, DNA evidence continues to play a crucial role in the case. Hairs recovered. See, this is disturbing. Hairs recovered from 5 of the 6 victims were tied to Heuerman, his family, or people who lived with him. Ugh. Now, see, this is why he's not going to get out of this. Like, y'all. It's almost like watching when he comes to trial for me, except for just finding out some interesting details if I want to hear them. It's going to be like watching the Chad Daybell case, which I didn't watch. I watched a few minutes of it. I'm like, this man is guilty. I'm not wasting my time. I know he's guilty. I watched Lori Vallows, or a lot of Lori Vallows. And once we got to Chad Daybell, it's like, okay, let me do something else. The evidence against Rex Heuerman is overwhelming. Overwhelming. Investigators have been examining over 350 electronic devices seized from Heuerman's home. You tell me, how do you have 350 electronic devices? I don't care if that's iPad, different phones over the year, you know, cell phones, what? Watches, like 350? 350. I can't imagine even the way that my kids go through phones. I cannot imagine in my lifetime having 350. So this is crazy. There were a lot of burner phones. We know that. And I don't even know. I can't even think of different devices that could add up to that. Um, let's see. Let me go back to what Jay is saying about Brian. They have even reported to see him detailing the Elantra once he was in Pennsylvania. Would you detail your mom's car and separate your garbage in the middle of the night with gloves on? Nah, he's the guy. Again, those are weird things. Unless there's a really good explanation. Those are like, again, that's why that's why it's like, well, I see this point. I see how this could have happened. I don't know. It's one of those endless rabbit holes. And I don't think that I'm going to be very interested kind of to see how it plays out in court because there's just so much information on both sides. Usually you don't have that much. I mean, look at Rex Heuerman. Nobody is getting up and saying, I've known Rex for 30 years. He's a good guy. He would never do this. Like, where is anybody saying what a great guy Rex is? I don't see anything. I think this guy is going down. And I think it's a lot safer. I think James Burke. Well, that's something else. That's another thing in my head. But this so many people needlessly were victims of Rex Heuerman because of the shenanigans of James Burke and the prosecutor that prevented this from being solved for so many years. And I really wish that there was something that we could do about that, because that makes me very angry. I don't care what you think about escorts or the lifestyle that these girls were living. They're people. They're somebody's daughters, somebody's, mamas, somebody's sister, somebody's best friend. Like, these are people. All right. What they did for a living, yes, dangerous. It is irrelevant. They did not deserve what they got. All right, let's go on. And oh my God, this one. I'm going to try to be brief on this one, unless y'all really want to talk about it. I've done several videos on him. I probably release part of another soon. This guy in June. If you don't know, man, this has been a tough month for me. Covered true crime and ended up getting blessed out by so many Christian people because I'm telling the truth about your phony leaders and people that needed to be in jail. I'm sorry. I will tell you the truth. Don't come to me for sugarcoating lies. And, I'm not going to do it. That's not me. All right, this is Robert Morris. He was the pastor of Gateway Church, one of the largest megachurches in the U.S. with around 100,000 active members. Initiated an independent investigation into the matter. Okay, so let me back up. Gateway is investigating, but if you haven't heard, all of a sudden it comes out that he had an inappropriate relationship with a young lady. And this was when he was in his early to mid 20s. He was married. He had a child. He said that he had repented and that he had, been restored. He wasn't in the ministry for 2 years. And, he had talked to their family. He had made everything right. He had been forgiven like 35 years ago. Well, as it turns out, that wasn't quite the way it happened. First of all, this young lady, my Aunt Fanny, this young lady was 12. She was a child. She was not a young lady. She was a child. And, yes, he had a relationship with her for 4 years. She talks about it. The elders and everybody came to Robert Morris's defense, and they're like, oh, this is under the blood. Oh, he's been forgiven. And, my whole point was that once that happens, you are not supposed to stay in the office of pastor. And I still stand by that because that is biblical. Talked about this for several videos. Y'all know how I feel. But when the church found out she was 12, supposedly, they didn't know, they thought she was older, then it became a problem as people around the country were outraged that he was still up there, had been in service for all these years as a pastor. After, he should have went to jail. All right? That's what should have happened. And as it turns out, according to the victim, it was not... Yeah, they didn't put him in jail, but it was not okay by her father. I mean, he didn't really forgive. It wasn't quite the story. So I don't know, and I'm not trying to family or victim shame. I don't know what the reasons were. I don't know what happened between that family in the late 80s when when it all came to light. But what I do know is that he didn't tell the truth. And now the elders... they said they didn't know, but then some more information comes out, more interviews, more people that were actually in the know, and they said, yeah, they did know. And some people left the church. Some people in leadership, Steve LeBlanc being one of them, left the church when, and he found out this. They weren't okay with it, all right? But the rest of them were like, oh, no, they wanted to follow the money train. That's what it is. Let's call it like it is. On June 22nd, 2024, Gateway Church leaders faced church members for the first time since Morris's resignation. If you haven't seen that, that was last Sunday. Was it last Sunday? Yeah. The reaction from current and former members was mixed, with some expressing outrage while others offered forgiveness. Now, when you see the elder, it's all over online. He gets up and at first, like I was trying to wrap my head around what this guy was saying. I can't even remember his name. And this is my opinion, okay? And I hate to be judgy. My opinion was I first started listening to him and I thought, okay, he's genuinely didn't know. And he's crying. Could you cry? And, as you're talking to the congregation, absolutely. Your heart is broken. So I didn't think a whole lot about that. But what bothered me about that whole speech was that he does all this crying and I'm sorry, we didn't know, this is heartbreaking, blah, blah, blah. And then he turns around and he's like, but look what good we've done through all the years. I'm like, what kind of crap is that? I mean, are you just trying to make the congregation feel better? Because to me, you need to keep out that, first of all, you don't need to be mentioning all the good stuff you've done. Let's again get everybody feeling good. Oh, yeah, this terrible thing happened, but it's okay with God because look at all the good things that we did. Are you out of your mind? Really? Do you have a few screws loose? Because I think you do. You need to shut up about stuff like that. What you should do is just stand up and literally say, I am so sorry for the victim, the family. We're going to do everything we can. We are, we're devastated. Not like, oh, but side note, we done good the last 30 years. Wink, wink. So I'm sure this is going to smooth over. God is happy about that. No, God's not happy about that. Yes, he's happy that people were reached and yeah, but he ain't happy about the way it happened, and that was nothing that should have been, in my opinion, said from the pulpit when you're trying to apologize. You don't say how bad it is, but how good you are? Like, that's not what kind of freaking apology is that? That's just my opinion. I know, people come at me for that. I don't care. Y'all come at me. Not y'all, my lovely little subscribers. Not y'all. But, all these other people on the internet, you've been coming at me all week. I don't care. You know why? Because I'm going to tell you the truth. Because people who don't care about you, they will tell you a lie. When you love and care about somebody, you tell them the truth. Because the truth is what is scripture? It's what sets you free, right? Lying to you, I can love you right into hell, and I can lie to you right into hell. I'm going to tell you the truth because you need to have a wake-up call. All right? Wake-up call. The truth hurts. But in the end, it heals because you can correct. I would rather have somebody tell me the brutal, honest truth, even if it makes me cry. Because I know when they're telling me the truth and it's something I've done and I've, whatever, some way I've hurt them or some flaw in my character, when somebody feels the need to point that out, yeah, it doesn't feel good. It's heartbreaking. And sometimes I get really kind of depressed and it's like, oh my God, is this true? You process it. In the end, when I realize it is true, man, I'm like, I suck. Like, that was really a sucky thing to do. Well, you know what? It hurt, and I go back and I make reparation, right? You try to make it right. You apologize sincerely, or whatever it is that you're doing that, is really stupid and harmful in some way to somebody. You stop doing it, right? Love is going to tell you the truth. People that hate you are going to tell you a lie. The Bible said, if you hate your children, you don't discipline them. Or backwards. If you don't discipline your kids, you hate them. If you correct them, it's because you love them, right? That was a whatever. I was looking at that and I'm like, that's just a halfway apology, in my opinion, but, come tell me what you think. Whatever. You're not going to change my opinion, sorry. All right. Let's see. Clemisher. This is the victim, Cindy Clemisher. She criticized the church's handling of the situation, stating that Morris should have been terminated rather than allowed to resign. I agree 100%. She also questioned why the investigation wasn't expanded to cover Morris's entire tenure at Gateway Church. Yes. Yeah. Why are you just looking at, that was her point. Why are you just looking at what happened from 82 to 87? Why are you just looking at those years? Or, if you're going to investigate something, why don't you check around into all of his tenure? Because what is the truth about chomos? They probably have more than one victim. Now, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But were you investigating it? You should have been. I agree, Cindy. The church hired a law firm to independently review the details of Morris's case. Yeah, after everybody called you out on it. After you found out she was 12, wink, wink, when you officially, found out she was 12, whatever. And then people are saying, why he can't go to jail now because statute of limitations, but, why wasn't he legally prosecuted? Is there anything we can do now? That's what people are asking. So when all this started coming up, they hired a law firm, in my opinion, to do damage control, as well as investigating. As of June 29th, 2024, there were calls for Gateway Church's pastor and elders to temporarily step down, as they should, in my opinion, amid the ongoing controversy. Yeah, that's my opinion. I think they should step down, at least temporarily, and you may find out that a lot of them didn't know. A lot of them may have had no idea what was going on. But at the same time, if you're a person of integrity, in my opinion, with all this stuff going on, you would say, hey, you know what? It's a good idea. Let's just all step back. Let's let this investigation, because if I'm not hiding anything, I got nothing to hide. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to step away. Y'all do what you got to do, and we'll deal with it. To keep the, at least every appearance of integrity. You know what I'm saying? But, it's all about cha-ching, cha-ching. And again, y'all who are unfamiliar with my channel and don't know me, I am a Christian. I am very unapologetic about it. But I'm gonna call out what's wrong. That is my responsibility and my duty to people. Yeah, I had a moment there, didn't I? I had a silky moment where I went on a rant. All right, Mythical. I would rather have one loyal, honest friend. Me too. And I've had a lot of friends that hurt my feelings, but they were right. They told me when I was being an idiot, and somebody needed to. Look. If I knew when I was being an idiot, I would not have made so many of the boneheaded decisions I've made. So somebody please tell me. All right. There are some other things. Oh my gosh. As you're talking about this, Angela, yeah, oh God, TD Jakes. I've got a article on him that I was looking at. Rod Parsley, Tony Evans, TD Jakes. Now Johnny Lamb. I didn't hear anything about that. See, there's a new one. I don't know anything about. But I've listened to a lot of people, and you know what? I've listened to a lot of people in the last 2 weeks on YouTube that are, prophetic or whatever. I don't know who these people are. Never heard from them. I don't know. But over and over, I keep hearing people, and probably the biggest one that some of you may have heard from is Jennifer LeClaire, but they keep saying that there is going to be more and more scandals coming from the church. And, I hate it in a lot of ways, but on on the other side of that is I really want to see God clean house. Like, let's get everybody back on the right track, okay? Repent, get on the right track. Let's do this right, okay? All right. I have talked y'all's ears off. And there are a couple of things that I want to do. One is I'm looking into the case. Have y'all heard of it? Just as we're closing. Um, there is a case that Nancy Grace, I just saw it last night, and it is about the Trails Carolina wilderness therapy. Now, a 12-year-old boy passed away after being there for 24 hours. Very sketch. Oh my gosh. And the thing that gets me about this one is I know somebody who, and I'm trying to set up a time to see if he will talk about it. He went to the same kind of place at a facility here in Alabama, and reading about what Trails Carolina is, and the possible essays and other unalivings that have happened, it is very traumatic. So I'm probably going to touch on that. I don't know if I'll do it live or a video, but I want to do an interview with him, if I can get him to talk, because it was rough. What he saw was extremely rough. And that this is something else. If these kind of camps, like, I'm all for what people think. Parents think they're sending their kids to like a boot camp to teach them discipline, like a boot camp, you know, like military. You think you're sending them to, teach them discipline and stuff like that. And some of these places are nothing but torture, both in an essay way and starvation. Oh my gosh, it gets crazy. All right. I am so glad to hang out with y'all. Oh my gosh, Texas Patty. Let me say this. A 12-year-old boy wrapped in a sleeping bag situation having a panic attack. He smothered. Now it's a homicide. Exactly. But his pants were missing. So there was a problem. And yeah, there were some other cases that were, yeah, I don't know. Just the things that they do. So I'm trying, like I said, to do that. There are a couple of other cases that have come up that people have sent me. For those who are asking about Brain Bungler, he is working like crazy, insane hours last week and even next week. So for those who wanted to know, I don't know. We're trying to find a time. Some of y'all have sent me some great stuff on AI and some other paranormal stuff. So the Bungler and I will be doing a show together, live together, as soon as he quits working so much, whenever that is. All right. I very much appreciate everything that y'all do, that you say, your comments, your emails, your Discord messages, one more thing, y'all. I'm probably going to put it on community page. I used to could stream to Facebook, and now I can't do a Facebook Live because I have to have 100 followers, and I only have like, I don't know, 80, something like that. If y'all are on Facebook, would you please look up Silky Southern Tea and just hit the like button. I don't really post there a whole lot, but I do stream to there. I appreciate it if you would do that. All right, y'all be good. Have a wonderful Sunday. I will be back tomorrow with some kind of something. Not sure 100%. Probably Trails Carolina. And then we're also going to be like, look, I know y'all going to be looking at the protest too. We're going to be looking for Spider-Man. Maybe Abraham Lincoln, right? Whatever. All right. Hope you have a beautiful weekend. I will see you later. Stay safe. And whatever you do, stay silky. Bye-bye.